here for season 2, episode 8. Crap, I'm not even gonna say an episode. Hey, highly recommenders, we're here for another highly recommended Jiu-Jitsu edition with Professor Bruno Bastos. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
I greatly appreciate this. As you can tell, I'm stuttering over my own words, but everyone's used to that talking to me. What are you doing here in Florida?
Oh, I came to the Pancake Championship that just happened in Orlando. I had 17 kids from my academy competing, 6, 8 from the whole association. So my own children compete as well. I have a son and a daughter that they do jiu-jitsu and they like to compete. So that's how I came to Florida this past weekend for that tournament. And then Robson is a friend of mine since, like we know each other since 1990, 1991. I was 11, he was 13, something
I was
like
just
that.
being born.
Yes. So then like I came to visit him and spend a few days with him, and then before I go back to Texas for the heat of Texas.
Now, how did your students do?
So of the 17 we had from my school, we got 6 golds. So it's a record of golds that we got in one single edition of Pancakes. So I'm really proud of all the kids that competed and the coaching staff and everything. The association, we got a total of 11 golds. And then we were on the top 10 overall. So like that, first time that we got on the top 10 since like the team was created. The team just completed 7 years this past weekend as well, team lead. So like
Congrats.
I'm really happy with everything.
7 years, long
Yeah,
time.
so just shows that we're doing the right thing, like helping the development of those kids.
Now, do you still compete yourself?
Yeah, I still like to compete. I compete on the Masters Division. I still love the whole process of preparing for a tournament, like the nerves before the tournament, like the warm up area. The
You
walking
get
to the
nervous,
mat.
sir?
Not nervous. Like
Oh,
I don't get
okay.
nervous. Like I would be lying if I said I get nervous. But the nervous, what I mean is like like waiting for your name to be called out, and then like like I wanna my first match. I wanna see how the bracket gonna play out. Like those things, like. So I love all that, and so I still like to test myself sometimes.
Understood. Me, on the other hand, I get nervous. Like, I'm up there and I'm like this. I'm like, please let me do good. Sometimes I do good, sometimes I do bad. But hey, that's all a part of the process. Now, is there anything that you do particularly that for yourself, or is there anything that you tell your students on how to prepare for a competition?
What I do to myself, and I tell my students and like execute with them, is I try to simulate everything that's gonna happen in a tournament.
Okay.
Because if you, let's say, if you come to the school every day and then drill, flow, whatever, and then when you go to the tournament, now you have someone come at you 100%.
Yeah, it's a
Then
little
you're gonna
different.
get right. Or if you have a routine and now get on the day before, then you change your dinner because you like, oh, I'm competing tomorrow, and then you try to go to bed at a different time because you compete tomorrow. Then your breakfast is different because now, oh, it's a competition day. Then like those things, I think like get you nervous because you're getting out of your routine.
Yeah.
So it's just like a matter of routine, and there's a skill that you can develop that really works on the mental aspect, like with my students, like with myself as well. We do that all the way from kids to adults, and I think the results show that helps a lot. So really, just trying to simulate the tournament, like not in every class because there is class and there is competition training.
Okay,
So trying to simulate that in competition training, because the class is different. The class is like to learn to have fun. Not that you cannot have fun in competition, but you have to be prepared first to defend yourself, right? And then second, to be able to complete that task, that's compete against someone and try to defeat them inside the rule set that you're competing in.
Now, that is quite a bit to think about. Now, when you're teaching, Do you have a set competition class at your school?
Yes, we do have twice a week for the kids because
Okay.
with the kids is I don't think should have more because they're in the phase of life that I want to make sure that they are still kids, but of course it's good for them to have that discipline
Yeah.
and knowing that to achieve anything that they want in life, they're gonna have to have like that discipline commitment to themselves. So it's not like what I want or what dad or mom wants. It's like what do you want for yourself.
Yeah, you
So I think
got.
that yes. So I think that's important for the kids. But like kids also they play other sports. Like a lot of times you see kids that play baseball, soccer, or football, basketball, whatever. So that's why we do twice a week for the kids. For the adults, we have 5 competition trainings a week. Not everyone does all. I would say that the juveniles and adults they pretty much do all 5. But then the guys and girls in the master division they do 2 to 3 because also the age and the recovery and then I think you have to be smart on that sense as well. And then I think we do a good job managing the intensity and number of competition sessions that each person gonna do. Right? One thing that I tell to myself, for example, I'm 43, so I always tell to myself, oh, I'm 43, I'm not old, but 43 is not 33, definitely not 23, right? So,
That's true.
and that's what I remind everybody as well.
Now, do you do any stretching? Do you do any like yoga? Any uh, any exercise outside of jujitsu to help benefit your jujitsu?
Yeah, I do strength and conditioning. I have my coach Jerry Jones, that like amazing coach. I started working with him in 2018, and since then I have won major tournaments in every year. Um, I think 2019 was the only year that I didn't win a world championship since I started with him. I have also yoga with Chloe Newton. Like I'm not a flexible guy. I don't think I will ever be a flexible guy, but the yoga helps me a lot on my joints, on focus, on breathing exercises. So I really like that part as well. It helps me a lot as well to release stress of like my joints and then like lower back, hips because what 33 years doing jiu-jitsu, teaching is what like gets my body. Is not like training, right? Because teaching you have sometimes you have to repeat a move so many times during the day because the students asking like, oh, what if, oh, can I see again, and then those things, right? So the yoga helps me a lot on that part, and I also do U Natural and Budokan Mobility with my sister Bianca Bastos. She has certification on those 2 programs, and then so we do a lot of mobility stuff, and that helps as well. I think me being like a big guy is important to also to be able to move, and I help him as well when it comes to the classroom teaching moves, like especially I work with like kids a lot,
Yeah.
and then I have a lot of students that are like smaller, like Husser, like fatter, like how can I teach them if I don't know how they feel in certain moves, right? So like the mobility helps me a lot on be able to play games in jiu-jitsu that I wouldn't be able to play if I didn't do those type of training as well.
Now, to continue on the conversation of competing, what's it been like for you in the competition world since you first started to now? Because you've gone against some well-known people in the industry, in the sport. So, how's that evolution been in your eyes?
For me, it's amazing just to see how today the guys and girls can really make a living only off being an athlete, right? Because I'm from a generation where, like, yeah, I make a living off jiu-jitsu, but being an athlete means you have to have a school as well to be able to provide your athlete life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Then came the generation of like, okay, maybe you don't have a school, but you teach a bunch of seminars during the year, so you can keep your athletic life, right? And now has that generation that they can just film instructionals. They can like they don't have to be traveling all the time, doing stuff to supplement their athletic life. So
Yeah.
of course, not everyone. Of course, are the main names that are doing that. But that I think is every industry and in sports, like you're gonna see that in football, soccer, baseball, whatever it is, like the bigger names, you're gonna get better paid, right? And then it's your job how you're gonna place yourself in the industry. Like, I think jiu-jitsu is so cool because you don't have to be the best guy or girl. But if you have a good presence on social media, if you know how to present yourself, if you speak out your opinions, you post you a lot of times gonna have more followers, which means like able to generate more opportunities than some people that maybe are like our world champions.
Now, with IBJJF giving a platform for practitioners and athletes to be able to give themselves a form of recognition and nobility, what do you think of the rise of ADCC over the years to where they are now like on ESPN and bringing out stadiums and also bringing in another form or another way for athletes to get recognition without going through the gi? They can stay no gi. What's your take on both of those platforms for the athletes?
And I think they're all great. Like I see one thing that I'm gonna say this, and maybe some people don't wanna like it. But I see every organization trying to bash BGF every opportunity they have, but we don't see BGF talk about anybody, and that says a lot, in my opinion.
That does say
Right?
a lot.
That says a lot. So the truth is that they paved the way for all the organizations that are now, right? But like, I think the EDCC is the next level of professionalism. Is where like the best of the best are gonna compete. Gonna be the Super Bowl of Jiu-Jitsu, or you can say like grappling because some people are like, oh, not Jiu-Jitsu, grappling. And
Yeah.
that's fine. No, for me, end of the day, it's all Jiu-Jitsu.
Correct. Me too.
But like I think it's just the next level of the sport where like you build your career to that point. And of course you can do only no gi, and then you have you still can do no gi at IBJJF, and then other organizations such like you can start in local tournaments like Naga, and then go like AGF, and then like New Breed, those like AGF like do like all over the United States, and then like some like international events, right? So I think there's more tournaments doing that. Have the AGP like, as well, like based in Abu Dhabi, going all over the world. So I think it's all beneficial for the sport, and I think the ADCC is the top of this when it comes to publicity, recognition on the industry, also sponsorship opportunities.
Oh yeah.
But again, if the athlete knows how to do that, and or have someone to help him to manage that part.
Now, aside from you competing in IBJJF, have you competed in anything else?
Yeah, like I competed this 3 times. Right, I competed 2009, 2011, and 2017.
Wow.
All right, and then I have competed multiple organizations, Kasai, Fight to Win, like I didn't came on there for who's number one, right? But like, but back when I started coming to the United States, like back then, Grappler's Quest was like the event for like
Grappler's
professional.
Quest?
Yes, they were the professional event. They were doing invitationals, 8-man, 4-man, 16-man tournaments with cash prize. So, but and that back then like 1,000, 2,000, like with a 5,000 cash prize, and then you're gonna see events like BJJ Stars in Brazil paying like 200,000 reais, which is like $40,000. You know, like
Sheesh.
yeah, you're gonna see events like who's number one. You're gonna see UFC Invitational. You're gonna see Polaris, Grapplers Fast, like in England as well. Like Tough Roll now in Australia. So one championship doing their grappling
Yeah.
part as well. Like, it's so many opportunities. So I think that like that is like amazing for jiu-jitsu. But again, always start with like 1994 first Brazilian Nationals. That I'm proud that I compete there, like BJF. I compete as a green belt. I won the green belt team two.
Hard to imagine that
Yes.
far back.
Like I was just a 14-year-old like kid. So, but it's nice to see all that evolution of the sport. now being like you said, a ESPN, and then it has like UFC platform, and then have Flow Grappling that does an amazing
Yeah.
job with the sport. So, and IBJJF is a big part of this. ADCC is a big part of this, and every other organization that is putting themselves out there, giving a platform for the competitors, hobbyists or professionals, they have their take on this as well.
I like to hear that. Now, before I get into another serious question, I want to segue real quick and ask you, Professor, what is your favorite movie? Like, when you're flipping through the channels, what's a movie that you'll stop at all the
I
time?
can't say one movie, right? But like I would say, my favorites would be Braveheart for sure, Last Samurai, Gladiator, Troy. I
Okay.
like those. I like those type of movies a lot.
I love Gladiator. I was actually just watching it on Hulu the other day, so that's funny that you bring that up. Now, since you've been training and got to see the evolution throughout the years, you got to actually see people, as you say, go from having to open up a school, do seminars, to being strictly an athlete and still making a career for themselves. However, what's it like to open up a school? Going from an athlete to actually becoming an instructor and opening up a school. Was that an easy route? Was there any challenges that you could have that you wish that you didn't have to deal with? I mean, there's probably a lot of that one.
I think I have been very blessed in the sense that I could go through, let's say, smoothly through the phases. So in Brazil, I was able to have my school. So that was like one first experience having a school in Brazil. So before I moved to United States, then like when I moved to United States, then first I moved teaching in a school out of Dallas, Texas, and I stayed there for 2 years. Then I moved to Midland, Texas, and then teaching like in a school as well. They're primarily like MMA school, and then to build a jiu-jitsu program. Then became a jiu-jitsu school that had MMA program. But I was also for like in someone's school, and then 2019 I was able to open like my own school. So for me it was like good to go like through those phases, so I could learn a lot along the way. And then doesn't mean that like it was that didn't make easier, but for sure saved me some trouble, like getting to know, because the American system is different than the Brazilian system when it comes to law and taxes and then all that, right? And it's very challenging. Like we're gonna complete 4 years now in November. All right, my wife and I we work a lot, but it's something that we love to do. So we have a school now with like a little over 400 students, and then
Wow,
yeah,
congratulations.
it is awesome.
That's a
Hope you
lot.
can come to Midland, Texas sometime to
Yeah,
visit our school.
I hope
Bastos
so
Brazilian
too.
Jiu-Jitsu. Yes. It is it's a lot of work. It's not easy as people think. Like, oh, I'm just gonna have like rent a store and then put a match and then gonna have it's not that. Like the jiu-jitsu is a sport, right? But the managing, the billing, the social media, the marketing, Google, and then like all that, right? So, but I love every part of this, and then like I'm really like blessed to be able to live jiu-jitsu off jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And I've also noticed you actually help a lot of students. You're at, from what I do or from what I've seen, you're always someone who's helping others. I'm not sure of the student's name, but I know there's a student that was competing, and then he opened up a school in Texas, and you ended up helping him a little bit, and many others. And it's like, is that something that you've always wanted to do, like when you got in that opportunity, is to give back, or is that just how you've always been your whole life?
So, like, I had a lot of help. I had a guy that helped me a lot on my childhood, like Luis Herminio, that he took care of my and my brother's membership most of our like childhood years. And then like I know how much jiu-jitsu changed my life, the opportunity that was given to me. And then for me, I always feel that's my duty, like to give back as well, create opportunity for people because sometimes all you need is someone to give you opportunity,
Yeah.
right? So like I like to help. Like I have a girl there with me now that trained in my school, Casamora. She's one of my social projects in Rio de Janeiro. She won was a blue belt, we promoted her to purple. She's competing. She competed ADCC
Congratulations.
in Dallas. The ADCC Dallas Open won. She competed Austin Open. Now she's gonna go Dallas Open. But and a girl that like from the favela with no perspective, and then like having that opportunity now, and then the kids in Brazil seeing that, right? Then I have a lot of names from jiu that I have the opportunity to help, and then that now they have their own school or their own associations, and then that is awesome. So for me, it's really like gets to a point where it's not what you can get. It's not what you can get from jiu-jitsu, what you can give to jiu-jitsu. So for me, it's like giving back to jiu-jitsu as well, what jiu-jitsu gave to me.
I love to see that. The fact that you built yourself up to what you are now, you're a well-known legend in the sport, and you're just paying it forward to anyone who's willing to accept it and that needs the help. Now, when you travel, what type, what is one of the states or one of the places in the world that you like traveling to?
Man, like I love Bulgaria. My wife's from Bulgaria, so I met her in
Okay.
Bulgaria. So I love Bulgaria for sure. But like Australia is a very beautiful country. I always joke with my Australian friends, the worst snake, the worst spider, the worst like is the Australia, but it's freaking far, like freaking far. But it's an amazing, beautiful place. I love to go to Australia. Of course, Brazil is always nice when I
Yeah.
get to visit Brazil, like my homeland, and like I love coming here to Tampa. So that's why I spent a few days here. Like I,
Yeah.
I love Tampa, I love Florida. So I think it's very hard to say like one single spot, but like here in the United States, I really love Florida. Like to visit like outside of Texas.
I like to hear that. I love hearing that the most because you're good friends with my professor, Professor Hobson, and you get to visit here. It's just an honor. Now, food. What does Professor Bruno like to eat?
I like fish. Like I love salmon. Like when I go to Finland, I have affiliates there. Like the salmon there on the Nordic countries are like taste different. So, but I love it in Brazil and Amazon. On the Black River, they have a fish called tambaqui. It's really good as well.
Tambaqui?
Yes, tambaqui is really good. And then of course, as a good Brazilian, I love Brazilian barbecue.
Yeah, I have grown fondly of those. I love those. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do appreciate you speaking with me. One of the last few questions that I have for you is, what is, well, before I ask that, is there anything that you're doing in the future? Are you going to be releasing a book? Are you going to be doing any more seminars? Are you opening up a new school? Is there anything that you have for your future plans?
No, now, like I start like a management uh, deal. I'm managing some athletes' careers. So also a way to give back because I never had someone to take care of my career on that sense. So for me, it's more like mentor them and guide them on that new generation that can make a living like without having to have a school, right? And then of course different athletes have different goals, but so my job is not just to get a super fight and seminars for them. It's like to help them and guide them through their careers. So that's one thing that I'm doing a lot now. I just released few instructionals on BJJ Fanatics. I plan on competing Master Worlds. I'm signed for this. I signed for
Nice.
this. In order that just living life as it goes.
I like hearing that, Professor. So then that leaves me with my very last question. What is highly recommended to Professor Bruno Bastos? That could be anything that comes to mind.
One thing that I always tell my students and I post a lot on my social media as well is winning culture. Set yourself apart and live every day to achieve your dreams. You know,
Set
set yourself apart
set yourself apart
because
and
you don't want to be like if you like everybody else, you're gonna have the results as everybody else. So winning culture is not to win everything, but it's do your best in everything that you do every day, right? So winning culture sets yourself apart, right? And then if you do that, you can live every day to achieve your dreams.
I like to hear that. As you heard it from Professor Bastos, highly recommended. Set yourself apart to
Live every day to achieve your dreams.
leave everything at the door to achieve and chase your dreams. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, so I appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.